I got out of the shower and I went and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't even recognize this person anymore.
Hello everybody, I'm Christy. I am a professional dancer, a fitness instructor, and a model out in Los Angeles, California. And this is my hair loss horror story. 3 years ago, I was in college. I went to Penn State University. I'm from Philly, Pennsylvania. And I was in a sorority. I had long blonde hair. I was dating an athlete. I really felt like I had it all during college. And I knew myself as this like bright, bubbly blonde. And then June 1st, 2016, so it was about 3 weeks after I graduated, I found one tiny little bald patch on the top of my head out of nowhere. I've never had any. And I was really like, this is nothing. It's probably just from the sun or me pulling my hair back too tight. It's nothing, it'll go away. So I moved to New York City to pursue dance. And I was in, my relationship at the time was falling apart. And I was under a lot of stress and anxiety because of that. And my hair is continuing to fall out and fall out and fall out. And I find a dermatologist in New York City, and she is shocked by how much hair is falling out. And I'm like, I don't care what it is, I just need to figure out what we can do to fix this. So she throws around the word alopecia. And I'm like, okay, well, I've never heard of that. Never heard this word in my life. So alopecia is a autoimmune disease, and originally she thought it was areata, meaning in circular patches. But I don't really care what it is. Like, this is my story, and I don't have hair now, and I don't care like what it's called. I don't like to define myself with alopecia. So I got steroid injections all over my head, probably 30 all over my head, because I was talked into it, and I was like young and didn't know anything about this journey I was going on, and I was hopeless, and I wanted some sort of help or glimpse of light to be like, this is gonna be okay and your hair is gonna grow back. My dream at the time was to dance on a cruise ship. My whole life I'd grown up going on cruises with my family and watching these performers on stage on a cruise, traveling around the world, making money. I was on cloud 9, out of this world. I was so happy and grateful and appreciative, and like felt like I was exactly where I needed to be, and thought the heartbreak and the hair loss was in the past and this alopecia thing was behind me. Now I'm going on this cruise for 8 months. I'm gonna take time to heal myself. It was so much fun on this ship. I had the best cast members. We traveled all around, and I felt like I was doing my job like above and beyond. And then one night after a show, we had the best show. All of the cast was on such a high again. And a guy in my cast, a company manager, and said, I don't know how to tell you this, but they're firing you tomorrow. And I was like, I literally had no words. I was completely speechless. This was one time in my life I had not anything to say. So the next day I was kicked off the ship at 6:45 a.m. The only concrete answer I got was, I saw some of the emails, said that I stood out and I pulled attention away and he wanted me removed from the ship. And the only thing that I can validate or understand as to why that happened was because of my hair loss. So they were aware that I had let them know that my hair was falling out and I needed a wig, and they had told me that they had ordered a wig for me. So they were aware of the situation, and I remember sitting on a hill in Seattle with my 5 suitcases, and I watched my castmates, my friends, get in their Uber, and I said bye to them, never knowing when I was gonna see them again, and they were going back to live the life that I had loved living. And I had no apartment to go back to, I have no job, and just about no hair left. So within 3 weeks of being fired, this was my new look. And this is what I looked like after 3 weeks. My hair had completely fallen out from the trauma and the stress. Well, I could get upset right now, but it was an insanely low point in my life that I was on such a high. I knew myself as this blonde, and now my look is being taken away from me. I went through a heartbreak, and now my job was taken away from me. So something in me was like, Christy, you have to go to LA. I was considering living at my parents' and waitressing or moving back to New York and subletting someone's apartment, but something kept telling me, you have to go to LA. I got glue and glued a blonde wig on, and booked a one-way flight to LA like a week later. and came to LA. Again, I didn't have a job set up or an apartment, and I figured it out. And I continued to hide under this blonde wig that I was trying to hold on to the girl that I used to know myself as. And if someone were to find out about my hair loss or ask me if I was wearing a wig or extensions, I would say, yeah, I am, but please don't tell anybody that I am. Like, this is so personal and private, and I'm so scared for the world or anyone to know, so please keep it in between us. And I remember I met with my agent, my dance agent, and I felt like it was time for me to like tell her and like maybe get some feedback onto how I could spin this to make it like benefit me. And I remember leaving that meeting not feeling the way I should have felt after leaving that meeting. And she made a comment like, there's no need to get bald headshots done. Like, let's just keep to this look. And I can still, I mean, that was like, what, 2 years ago? And I'm still holding on to that because now I'm at the point that I'm sharing my story. And it took like, it took a lot of people looking at me and telling me that they see my strength and they see my personality and they see who I am, not what I look like. For the first time ever, I spoke about what I had been through that had led me to that point. I took my wig off in front of them. I wasn't gonna let this hair loss, this alopecia, dictate my life or dictate my career. So it was extremely scary. It was so scary to like show such a vulnerable side when my whole life I was known as this blonde girl, and that's who I wanted to be. That's why I kind of still want that, you know? So I wanted to heal myself and like physically, mentally, and emotionally. I had been going through it, and I wanted to like just be free of it. Like, I felt like I kind of put my career and my life on hold because I didn't care. All I wanted was my hair to come back. That's all I wanted. So I looked in the mirror and was like, this is gonna be my new look. You're gonna stand back up and do it again. And then a couple months later, I submitted for Sports Illustrated Swim, and I was walking on the beach and in the video and took my wig off and spoke about how much beauty is not about what you look like. And next thing you know, I was down in Miami and I made it to the top 17 and got to walk on the runway with Sports Illustrated Swim and ripped my wig off at the end of the runway. And I can't even explain that moment that I felt. It was like I was finally being celebrated for what society, media, people, my agent were telling me to hide and telling me was something to be ashamed of. And I was finally celebrated and free and like felt for the first time in like 3 years like myself. For so long, I thought I can never have a dance career. I can never be a model. I can never live the life I want to live with my hair falling out. And I can gladly say, sitting here, I'm living the life that I want to live because I just keep pushing forward, and you can too. When there's a will, there's a way.
Hi, I'm Megan, and this is my hair loss horror story. So I've always had very long, very curly hair. I got it from my dad. My whole family is very curly, and growing up, that was kind of my identifier. People were like, go talk to Megan. Who's Megan? She's the one with the curly hair. Of course, growing up, I hated my curly hair. The grass is always greener on the other side, and I wanted straight hair. So starting in college, I got it relaxed, and I started straightening it, and then I would straighten it and then curl it. Then I got bangs, and then I had front bangs. And for years, that's how people knew me, was straight but curled hair and front bangs. I hated my hair basically up until I was 25. I stopped being a morning show reporter for the news, and I didn't have to have a certain look. And I came and I started working at BuzzFeed and really felt inspired to be more comfortable with myself. And so one day I was like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being afraid of water and having it curl up publicly, you know. I felt like I wanted to put in the effort to love myself the way that my hair grew out naturally from my head. And so that Halloween in 2015, I wore my hair curly and I was a lion, and it was like my foray into loving my hair. I started making a ton of curly hair content and got really interested in it. Ironically enough, I even made a video where I wore a bald cap for a day just to test my sense of femininity and identity without my curly hair. The last video I made before I was diagnosed with colon cancer was a curly hair routine. And I would soon lose all of the curly hair that I was teaching you all to take care of. So in 2018, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. I'm all good now, things are chill. So I got that cancer diagnosis, and unfortunately, like with most cancers, it's never just cancer. It comes with a million other things and ways that you have to prepare your body for chemo. Even before chemo started, I noticed that my hair was falling out. So my hair was falling out a lot once I started chemo, and I started to feel self-conscious about it and felt like other people might start to notice. So I went to see the dermatologist to talk about it, and she basically said that I had telogen effluvium. Telogen effluvium normally happens 2 to 3 months after like a traumatic or stressful event. And the hair that falls out that's normally replaced with new hair, your body is like in shock and trying to fix other things, so it just doesn't grow your hair back for you. So I remember one day in particular, I was going to buy a new car, and I took a shower and I washed my hair, and that day in particular I had a lot come out. And I got out of the shower and I went and I looked in the mirror, and I was like, I don't even recognize this person anymore. Acknowledging that your body isn't doing something that feels so basic feels bad. And that took me a long time to come to terms with. So that night I went home to my then boyfriend and I said, shave my head, because I was ready to take control of a situation that had been taking control of me. I thought I looked really good, and for the first time in like 5 months, I felt like myself again, and I felt truly beautiful, and that was a really powerful turning point in my hair loss journey. And as you can see, I mean, this isn't a wig. I'm lucky enough that my hair did end up growing back, which is what normally happens with telogen effluvium. After enough time has passed between the trauma, your hair starts growing back again. I had a shaved head for a couple months before you could see noticeable hair growth, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I was embarrassed to go outside, and I was nervous because I didn't want to look like a cancer patient, though being a cancer patient is like the most badass thing you can be. There's like no stronger person. So now looking back, I would be proud to walk around bald. Now I have a small wig collection of like 8 wigs, and I have like purple wigs and blue wigs, straight wigs, curly wigs, and I'm really glad that I've like embraced that side of things. Your hair loss is out of your control, and the sooner I let go of the things that were out of my control and started doing things that were in my control, like shaving my head and choosing wigs and makeup and finding ways to make me feel like myself again, I started to heal. So that's like the best piece of advice I can give people is like, mourn your hair loss, feel sorry for yourself, it sucks, it's like really hard to deal with, but then take control of the things that you do have control of.